Hi, here is Liprandi, and today we are going to play with one of the most unusual playsets for your vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures. This is the Colorforms Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles BZ Builders playset from 1991. But first, please help us remembering all those fabulous toys from the past. Subscribe to our channel, we've got a huge vintage toys collection, we are going to review them all and to tell you their history and trivia. We are pretty sure that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles don't need any introduction, but if you want to know more about how they came to be, about their creation, we will be glad to make a video in English about it. We have already made one in Italian. Anyway, in 1991 the Turtles were at the peak of their success, and that was mainly due to the fabulous line of action figures made by Playmates Toys. In the 1980s, action figures in general were a big deal in toy industry, and it wasn't unusual for smaller companies to produce cheaper cardboard playsets that were more or less explicitly made to be used with plastic action figures from major companies. As a kid, I would have preferred a real plastic playset, of course. But even though toys are made for kids, it's adults who have to pay for them, and the goal of having a nice, creative, fun toy without having to spend a lot of money was quite important. And cheaper cardboard playsets were sometimes able to provide a nice three-dimensional rendition of an environment for our action figures. Colorforms were born in 1951, when Harry and Patricia Kislevitz found out that they could stick cutouts from colorful vinyl sheets to the glossy walls of their bathroom, and somehow their guests were amused by that sort of game. In 1991, the company used the very much requested license for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to produce something that could be used both as a more traditional Colorforms set with vinyl stickers to be stuck onto these glossy cardboard backgrounds, and also as a three-dimensional environment for action figures. The box is quite large because it will be the base for our playset, but there's not much onto it apart from this big picture on the front. It is advertised as something easy to set up and take down, but of course this is not true. Since this is all cardboard, it will wear quite easily. Inside the box we've found some advertising and the instructions, but you won't really need them, since it is quite easy to set up. The playset is made of 6 pieces only, and each flap is marked with a letter and a number which have to match with the corresponding hole. And within a few minutes you will end up with this. The playset is 16 inches wide, the base is square, and 18 inches tall. We've used some vintage Playmates figures for reference. The structure is quite simple, but it gives us a few different layers. The far background is a flat black surface, so we have a sense of depth, and we get the idea that we could even get lost in those dark tunnels in the sewers. On the ground there is filthy water from the sewers, pipes, and a concrete sidewalk which is three-dimensional, where we can put our figures on. A ladder, which is just printed on the background, will take us through this manhole and up to the ground level. And up here we will find a sidewalk for our figures to walk onto, and a beautifully casual corner of New York City. On those colorful buildings we can read signs that nod to milestones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles history. Mark and René were the investors who brought the characters from the pages of a popular independent comic book to the worldwide fame. Mirage Studios was the name of the company that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird founded to produce their own comic books back when it all started. Eastman's Pizza Deli, of course, takes the last name from Kevin Eastman, one of the two co-creators of the Turtles. Up there we can read First and Vice Law Office. I'm pronouncing it that way because I believe that Weiss should be a German last name. Now, we're not really sure about it, but Weiss was an artist who worked on some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles merchandise back in 1991, so maybe this is the signature of the artist who drew this whole background. And we have the Prindle Pharmacy. Vernon Prindle was one of the main characters in the animated TV show. Now, these were the nods that we were able to spot, but maybe you can see some more and tell us about them in the comment section down here. The toy came with its own set of cardboard cutouts of some key characters. We have 14 characters and one car, which is really nice because it gives the illusion of a real environment in New York City. Now for each figurine you get at least one cardboard stand, but we didn't use these because the cuts in the characters' feet are too narrow, so you would have to bend the cardboard, leaving horrible creases. For the characters they've made some odd choices. We do get the 4 turtles, Splinter, Shredder and Krang. But there isn't April O'Neil, no foot soldiers, no Bebop and Rocksteady. Instead we get some minor characters such as Ray Fillet and Scumbag, while the presence of Tokka and Razar confirms us the date of this toy, since they were introduced in the second live-action movie from 1991. And of course, since this is a Colorforms playset after all, we do get 3 sheets of printed vinyl stickers. And these are of course wacky and disgusting. We have a manhole cover, which sadly isn't in rigid cardboard, it is just one of those stickers. We have some papers, bags and garbage, lots of garbage. We have pizza, a mutagen ooze can, even more garbage and pizza and mutagen cans. We have an issue of Wow Comics, which was actually a magazine published by Fawcett Comics back in the 1940s. And again, even more graffiti and garbage and pizza and weird creatures. On these bricks we read Walter Kelly, who was actually an animator and comic book artist, but there are many tiny details, so you can hunt for references yourself. And now we can use our cardboard figurines to live as many adventures as we can imagine down in the sewers or up in the streets. Yeah! And of course you can use all the Colorforms stickers to customize the background. There you go, now Splinter isn't the only rat in the sewers. But of course the main reason why kids might have wanted this playset was the real deal, the fabulous action figures made by Playmates Toys. And the size is quite right, they fit in perfectly. You can have your turtles sneaking up from those dark tunnels. Woohoo! You might even reconsider all those stories about crocodiles in the sewers. And up on ground level it will be fantastic having a corner of New York City for your action figures. Whoops, bad timing. Well, even though this playset wasn't advertised for Playmates action figures, this is what kids wanted it to be. And it was a very nice, cheaper alternative to the fantastic sewer playset made by Playmates Toys. It reminds me of those fantastic backgrounds they used in toy commercials. It is colorful, we have several layers. I like how they gave depth to those tunnels so you can hide your figures inside. It is fantastic for play and also for display. Sadly, this isn't cheap anymore. It is all made in cardboard, which is very fragile, so if you happen to find one of these, today it will be probably destroyed or messed up. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the most popular brands from the 20th century, and in 1991 they were at the peak of their success, so many toy collectors will be willing to get one of these, and they will be willing to pay a lot of money for it, which is what we just did. After several years of research, we have found this playset still sealed in box, but we had to open it up and assemble it because we wanted to play somehow with this fabulous cityscape. We think that it looks great and it is fun to play with, but we also appreciate the role of toys such as this one, which is giving kids who could not afford more expensive playsets a nice environment for the action figures. As we stated at the beginning of this video, this is quite unusual. It's not something that you see very often associated with this line of action figures, but it's worth a peek. And as always, if you liked our review, please let us know. Click on the like button. Let us know in the comments below what you think of it. We will answer you as soon as we can, and if you haven't done it already, you can subscribe to our channel, the blue symbol Liprandi, where you will find reviews of many fantastic toys from the past. Ciao!